All right, welcome back, guys. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. Unfortunately, unable to join me today is Gary Sheffield Jr., and this is Yankees Unloaded. I do have some great news for Gary. He and his wife just welcomed a beautiful baby girl, healthy. So very happy for him. He'll be back soon. I don't know exactly when. To be fair, he just brought a kid into the world, so yeah, let's all, congratulate Gary and, the family, and, we'll have him back soon. But unfortunately, not so great news with Yankees baseball. 5-3, pretty much the usual. The Yankees fall again to the AL East. They just can't beat the AL East for whatever reason. Tampa moved to 45 and 46. The Yankees fall to 55 and 38 on the year. The 30 and 19 on the road even still, but they fell 5-3 in a game that Carlos Rodon did not start off well, didn't really finish well, only got through 4 innings, really had issues with pitch count, only gave up 5 hits, but gave up 4 earned runs, walked 2 and struck out 5. Today was just, pretty much the usual. I mean, Ben Rice looked really good. Obviously, he had the home run. Juan Soto was like this close to tying the game at the end in the 9th inning. Unfortunately, that did not come to pass. Jake Cousins was phenomenal, giving him 5 strikeouts in 2 innings. Tonkin gave up a run. Canely came in for, a third. But for the most part, this was not a great showing by the Yankees, a team that, first inning, top of the first. Glaber singles in the left. You get the 1-0 lead, which is good. The Yankees normally win games when they take the lead in, the early frame. Then Arozarena put, points on the board, and then, Paredes, with his 3-run shot made it a 3-run game. So it was 4-1. Rice homered in the 7th, which made it 4-3. And then DeLuca doubled off of Tonkin. So look, not the best game for the Yankees. Really, obviously not the best game for the Yankees on the road. They really need to start winning ball games. I mean, really what it comes down to is it's hard for a lot of people to, considering where they were earlier in the year. I think that's really been the adjustment period. I mean, when you talk about this team, the fall from grace needs to be studied. I mean, this is insane. At the same time, it's believable. Unfortunately, today, I had the realization, I mean, maybe I've had this for a while, but the Yankees are not going to figure this out until they start getting some of their injured players back. It's just the reality of the situation is that they are in dire need of Giancarlo Stanton. They're dire need of Giancarlo Stanton. They're in dire need of John Birdie. They're in dire need of Clark Schmidt. I mean, the list kind of goes on. Now, let's not act like they're the only team dealing with injuries, but Brian Hoke reported earlier today, Giancarlo Stanton could be ready for a minor league rehab assignment later this month. That's good. Unfortunately, Jason Dominguez news is not great. At Tampa Complex, unable to do much, still has a ways to go, says Boone. Clayton Beater seeing Dr. Keith Meister for right shoulder issue. Season may be over. That's a big blow for the Yankees. And then right-handed relief pitcher Lou Trevino is throwing from a mound, but rehab has been a little bit slow, according to Boone. Currently, Birdie, he's there. He's taking grounders and BP. He's going to remain at the Tampa Complex during the Orioles series, according to Brian Hoke. So right now, I'm just going to be honest. I don't know if you guys knew, but it sounded like, Yankees brass was out there for this one. And I'm just going to be honest with you folks. I really think the way this is going is they are not going to wait until the deadline. I think very much we are getting really close to a decent overhaul of this roster. The bottom line is this is not working, And it doesn't matter if it worked before. It doesn't matter that they're 55-38 even still. This is not sustainable. You will miss the playoffs if you continue to play this poorly. And so I do think Brian Cashman, knowing that, Juan Soto is not in the bag for next year and he could very well leave, trying to make the most of it, and especially keep this in mind, Juan Soto might need to be talked into staying. If this is a team that is not playing well, Juan Soto could go somewhere else and make a lot of money and feel better about the situation. So look, right now, Ben Rice, he's your first baseman. He's your leadoff hitter. Went 1 for 5 today, but had a 2-run shot, right? So that is your leadoff hitter. He had 2 strikeouts. I like what he's doing. Juan Soto just missed a home run. Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge at third. Then you have LeMahieu hitting fourth, and he had a hit and he had 2 strikeouts. Glaber had a hit, got the thing rolling today, had a strikeout. Austin Wells had 2 strikeouts, very uncharacteristic of him, 0 for 4 day. Volpe went 0 for 3, had a walk and a strikeout. He is now down to 249 batting average, not good. Grisham had a hit today. Then you had LeMahieu getting 2 hits, uncharacteristic of him as of late. But the reality is, this is a team that just right now, no matter if it's hitting or pitching, they just haven't gotten it done. It doesn't really matter who's it on. It's a combination. It's not one person. So I'm sure pretty much we're all in the boat of not wanting to hear Aaron Boone saying it's in front of us ever again. He probably will say it again. But, right now, regardless of whether you think it's in front of you or not, you're not executing. You're not getting the job done. And doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. And we've talked about it on this show many times. The minor league system, call up some of these guys. Try to light a spark. I mean, you saw what Ben Rice did. You need more of that. Call up Jeter Downs. Call up Jorby Beboss. Just call up some of these guys. Give them an opportunity. Call up Spencer Jones. You have to salvage this season. And you could say all you will. Oh, well, after the All-Star game, things will be different. Who knows? The way this is going, I think the Yankees are going to make a trade sooner than later because I just don't think that this is sustainable. And for whatever reason, Brian Cashman will not call up any of the guys I just mentioned. So instead, he'll probably trade them away for somebody when in reality, maybe one of these guys is better than the guy that they end up acquiring. So it's kind of interesting because I've seen Rengifo from the Angels. He's been linked to the Yankees. Could be a really good asset there. He's not a great defensive guy, but he hits for average, although some people say he's a little lucky and the average might not be as good at Yankee Stadium. Who knows? But he's a guy. Then you talk about Jonathan India, somebody that the Yankees saw up close and personal at the stadium and looked really good. India is on the trade block, according to a few rumors out there. And if Jonathan India is available, he could really help the Yankees out. And then you have the obvious one that we've brought up many times, Jazz Chisholm. But this is no longer, hey, we need to get a bullpen arm. Okay, we need to turn this into a super bullpen. This is no longer like, oh, hey, we need a starter. This is like, we don't have the bats necessary to compete with anybody now. And you can say what you will. LeMahieu went 2 for 4 today. He's now at 206. Okay. At the same time, LeMahieu is not fooling anybody. He is easily going to go 0 for 5 tomorrow and the next day or whatever. And the reality is he's not getting the exit velocity nor the launch angle, okay? A lot of his, balls that, he bats into the ground are just surefire double plays. I mean, we've seen it, lack of hustle. I don't want to get too much on LeMahieu because he had 2 of the 7 hits today, but you get the point. Tired of trotting out Grisham, tired of trotting out LeMahieu. Glaber could be gone. I mean, this is just not a good lineup, folks. Right now, the only good hitters in the lineup, genuinely speaking, Rice, Judge, and Soto. That's it. I mean, Torres, he may hit every now and then, and Verdugo might. Verdugo's down to 245. Torres is hitting 223. As much as I love Austin Wells, he's, not necessarily a good hitter yet, right? Volpe's fallen off a cliff. He's hitting 249 with a, OPS now below 700. Grisham, he's hitting 172. LeMahieu's hitting 206. And Cabrera's hitting 237 after starting the year with 1,000+ OPS. So, look, the reality of the situation is this. This is not a good team right now. It's not. Now, it can change. But unfortunately, for those of you who wanted to stand pat, if you want this team to turn around, they're going to have to make a move or two. Also, another thing, and this is the nightmare scenario that could very well be the case. Giancarlo Stanton could come back and not be the same player. Okay, there's a very real possibility Giancarlo Stanton comes back and he's not at all the same player. He struggles immediately, and the Yankees are in trouble. And I think that's something that we all have to prepare and be ready for. There's a chance Giancarlo Stanton comes back and he does nothing, and then your reinforcement is just a letdown. There's a chance the same thing can be said about John Birdie. You're not, talking about Jason Dominguez coming back here. Okay, both guys are older. So if Dominguez came back, that would light a spark, but it sounds like he's nowhere near ready, and they just continue to ignore Vivas and Downs and all those guys in AAA, and it's kind of bizarre. And no mention of Spencer Jones. To me, if you're trying to salvage this season, what could you do to make this team better? Well, I'll tell you right now. Spencer Jones playing center field over Todd Grisham would be the best thing possible. Excuse me, Trent Grisham. Would be the best thing possible. Okay, start there. Wells at catcher, totally fine with that, obviously. At first base, you got Ben Rice. Second base, Glaber, I guess for now until the trade deadline, but you could easily call up one of, if not both, Vivas and Downs. Both can play second base. Third, LeMahieu. Put him on the bench. I mean, I know he had a 2-hit day. All these guys are capable of having 2-hit days. At third base, I'd probably put Vivas. I'd probably put Downs at second. And then shortstop, I guess you have to roll with Anthony Volpe, but it's not ideal right now. And honestly, I'd give Peraza a shot, but I don't think the Yankees are going to do that. In left field, I'd keep Verdugo. Center field, like I said, I'd put Spencer Jones out there. Right field, I would keep Soto, right? And DH would be Judge. And on days where, maybe Judge is in the field, you put Spencer Jones at DH or whatever, right? And there's also an opportunity to call up other guys like Agustin Ramirez and guys in the bullpen that can help you out. And the reality is the Yankees just haven't done enough. I mean, for a team that continues to fall off a cliff here, a team that continues to lose, they're not making moves that you would think they would make. No, instead they're sending down guys like Yuendris Gomez, who gave them 5 innings of strikeout, 5 innings of no run ball. I mean, I don't really know what to say in regards to that. It's insane to me, and so I'm at the point where I just think, really, the Yankees are at kind of a tough position here. We're now past the 90 game mark or whatever. It's getting bad. Okay. You have to get something going or this is not going to end well. And you could say what you will. Okay. Well, Rodon isn't going to pitch like this forever and he'll just turn himself around last start and Clark Schmidt will be back before you know it. And of course, Poteet, and then you got Garrett Cole, who's going to at least figure it out at some point and be like that dominant pitcher that you want. But even if that's the case, what about the offense? See, you can't have all of them, okay? Fielding is still an issue. Glaber still leads all second basemen in errors. It's just an issue all over the board. So right now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't love the way Aaron Boone handles things all the time. I mean, I just don't love the whole, it's right in front of us. Yeah, it's great, man. I mean, you can constantly, answer the same things, but it doesn't really do us anything. I mean, what is going on? You got to get to the bottom of this. To not make any sort of move, they have not tried to call up anybody. They called up Ben Rice, like Gary and I brought up on 2 shows ago. They called up Ben Rice because they didn't have a choice. They're like, oh, Anthony Rizzo got hurt. Let's call it Ben Rice. So you're telling me, like Gary mentioned, there literally would not have been a call-up of Ben Rice had Anthony Rizzo not gotten hurt. That's insanity to me. So, again, I say it all the time. I'll say it again. Stop trying to make it this big-ass freaking ceremony calling up these guys, right? If there's a good player, and there are plenty in the minors that are hitting for average. I mean, TJ Rumfield's hitting 292 at first base. He'll never get an opportunity, but he is. And you have all these guys that like Elijah Dunham here and there. And, we already mentioned Vivas and Downs. You have these guys that are hitting well. and you're just going to let them sit there in AAA? I just don't understand the way the Yankees use their farm. It is mind-boggling to me. That calling up position players is like pulling teeth, okay? I don't really get it. It's really frustrating. And the thing that's really frustrating is it's not like you have, the bench that you had in the past where like Robinson Cano is coming off your bench or Nick Swisher's coming off your bench or somebody like really good. No, it's, Trent Grisham. It's DJ LeMahieu and, Oswaldo Cabrera. It's Jose Trevino. I mean, these aren't guys that you're like, oh, I can't call up Agustin Ramirez, who has 20 home runs on the season, was leading minor leagues on home runs. No, I can't do that. No, none of these guys are on that level where you're like, oh, you can't do that. So, I mean, I think it's going to happen soon. Brace yourself. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a trade tomorrow. I mean, think about this. Yankees brass just saw this. This was a gross game. I'm very well aware that Juan Soto almost tied the game up, and he was close. Juan Soto's now batting .291, okay? His average continues to dip. And if Juan Soto and Aaron Judge aren't hitting, how is this team going to win? One hit between 7 at-bats of Soto and Judge is not going to get it done. But at the same time, that's unfair to them. Well, they always have to pull the weight. And so we're just not seeing enough. Anthony Volpe has just kind of fallen off, and it's really upsetting because, I mean, we saw the beginning of the season. It seemed like he worked on everything. Everything was turning around. And now Anthony Volpe's really struggling. So the Yankees really got to dig down deep here. This is not going to be easy to get out of this. This is not one of those things. It's like, oh, this, we'll figure it out. It's all in front of us. I mean, this is bad. This is awful. I mean, like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, folks. I mean, I'm typically an optimistic guy when I'm trying to cover teams and whatnot. I've covered a lot of bad teams in the past, but I mean, if we're talking about this, so the Yankees, they were winning tons of games. I mean, they won the game against they won 2 against the Angels. They swept the San Francisco Giants. They swept Minnesota. That Dodgers series, right when Soto got hurt, they lost 2 of that. They won the last game. They almost swept Kansas City. They were very close to doing that, blew that game. Clay Holmes blew it. Then the Boston series. At this point, you have your 50th win of the year, June 14th. You're feeling good. I mean, you just watched. Essentially, Verdugo made himself look like a franchise player in that series, or at least the beginning of that series with the first game. Heel got the win. Bello got the loss. Yankees win the game 50-22. After that, the Yankees from June 14th to now July 9th, okay, went from 50-22 to 55-38. That's not acceptable. Okay, the last 21 games, do you realize the last 21 games, the Yankees have won 5? Okay, they've won 5 of the last 21. They've lost 16. Okay, they're 5-16 in the last 21. That's insane. This is not good. I don't want to I really don't want to put too much blame on Boone because I don't really know what he's supposed to do. They're not just losing these games because of bad management. These guys are not playing well. They're not. They're not hitting well. They're not pitching well. They're not playing good defense. This is not good. Now, I would like to see Boone go a little bit of a different route and hold these guys accountable, maybe bench some of these guys. But Boone can only do so much. I mean, Cashman won't call up anybody. How do you look at this team and not call up anybody? I just don't understand it. I mean, you could sit there and be like, well, we're paying DJ LeMahieu all this money. Yeah, that's great and all, but, and again, wrong day to call out DJ LeMahieu. He's batting, he went 2 for 4 today. The point I'm making, though, is you can say you're paying this guy all this money, but if he's hurting your team and the ultimate goal is to win a World Series, then you're doing a disservice as a general manager. It's really that simple. So that's where I stand on this. I really think today was eye-opening. It's no different than like the other losses, but having the Yankees brass out there and see this, I mean, this was just bad. And so you hope that something like this, seeing it in person, finally the glass shatters and it's like, oh, we need to call up Vivas or we need to call up Downs. We need to give these guys an opportunity. We need to maybe call up Spencer Jones. I mean, this is ridiculous. So that's kind of where I stand on this. And, tomorrow's the 10th. It's a new day and everything. Marcus Stroman's on the mound against Zach Eflin. Eflin gives up 13 homers on the year. Stroman's given up 15. Eflin doesn't walk as many. They've had just about around the same amount of innings. Stroman's been much better as of late, although he had kind of a down start the last one. But Eflin doesn't strike out, batters nearly as much as you would hope or you would think, but he doesn't walk a lot of batters. He pounds the strike zone. He throws, hittable pitches. And I think it's an opportunity for the Yankees tomorrow to just get right after it and have an aggressive approach and take advantage of it and, jump on Eflin early on, get to the bullpen and see from there. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, the Yankees really need to win tomorrow. I mean, they need to win every game at this point. But, I mean, all jokes aside, they can't string together wins. So even if they win tomorrow, are they going to win Thursday? They've kind of put themselves in an awful hole. And really, I can't stress enough, I don't think this team could be any more ready to get to the All-Star break. They need a reset. I don't know if that's enough. I don't know if it'll do it. It very well could, but I think they need that All-Star break. They need to get guys healthy, and I think they need to make some trades. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not one of those people that's constantly trying to trade away prospects. I'm actually, a big fan of prospects. I've made that very clear on the show. Because, when you have patience and you give prospects a chance, you end up with Ben Rices. However, when you don't give them a chance, you end up trading away Yordan Alvarez for just a middle relief pitcher, Dodgers. So that is something that I want to make very clear is that I'm not, advocating to just deal the farm. Okay, this has to be within reason, but Jonathan India, I don't know if Ryan McMahon makes any sense because of what the cost would be, but India, Jazz Chisholm, the guys that we talked about, Tanner Scott for the bullpen, I think they have to make a move. It's gotten past the point of, we can, try and ride this out. At the very least, they have to make a move in the organization. At the very least, you have to start calling these guys up. Because if you're not, I don't know what you're doing. I think this is an episode where, I miss Gary. Obviously, the show is much better with Gary. I'm not going to just, sugarcoat that. But, I'll say this. I think Cashman needs to start getting the same stuff that Boone's getting, okay? He, for whatever reason, is not calling up these guys, and Boone is working with what he has. And I'm not necessarily the biggest Boone fan. Like I said, I've defended him, and I like him. I do. But I'll tell you right now, just looking at Twitter and the way people have reacted to the idea, like it's been on like radio stations and whatnot. They've brought up the idea of firing Aaron Boone in the middle of the season and bringing in Buck Showalter. The way Showalter is treated, I honestly have to say, I think Showalter would probably be a better manager if I'm being honest. 4-time manager of the year. I've seen it all over Twitter. People just think he's terrible. I mean, he had, 5 of his 7 seasons. He had winning seasons. Before Joe Torre went to the Yankees, I think in 13 seasons he had 5 winning. So I do think that if we wanted to get into that, I would have to defend Showalter. I'd be interested in Mattingly as well. I mean, he wouldn't be available, but Showalter would. Now, that is, kind of one of those hypothetical situations if they fire Boone. I'll tell you right now, folks, they're not firing Aaron Boone. They're not. They're not doing that, and I don't necessarily think they have to. I think right now the concern is Cashman just going to let this thing ride out? Is he not going to make moves at the deadline? Is he not going to call up any of these guys? Because if he doesn't do a damn thing, to me, the obvious choice is to fire him. Because this is the roster that they were dealt with. And you can't say, well, the injuries suck and all, but they don't have great depth. I will say, with Boone not playing Jahmai Jones, I'm a little concerned, confused. Jahmai Jones has an OPS around 800. I don't really know what we're doing not having him out there. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Jahmai Jones, but I'm a fan of production, and he's done that. So, yeah, really a frustrating day. It's been frustrating. It's been fun doing the show, obviously, but it's been very frustrating to watch. I mean, we're all watching it, guys. It's not good baseball. It's not good baseball. This is not the Yankees that we know. 4-1 early on in the game like that, that's just not the Yankees that we know, to the Rays of all teams. I mean, this team is like dead in the water. They're trying to hover around 500. I mean, this is a team that the Yankees should be bludgeoning, and they can't beat them. I don't really get it. I don't care that the score was close. I don't care that Soto just missed tying it up. There needs to be obvious wins here, and the Yankees have made things really difficult on themselves. And we're not going to sit here and just congratulate, the select few of players that are standing out, because it's pointless. At the end of the day, the end result is that they lost, and they continue to lose. And they're really having a hard time putting together any sort of semblance of a winning streak since they had that 8-9 game winning streak. So, look, I know people are going to say, hey, All-Star break, teams have turned it around. The Yankees, I will say this definitively. If they don't call up anybody and if they don't make some moves, they're not turning this thing around. I'm just going to say it right now. There is zero chance this roster is turning that around, because it doesn't matter if you get Stanton back. You're not getting Jason Dominguez for another 2 months, right? You get Birdie back. Those two will help. No doubt they will help. But they're not turning the whole team around, okay? So that's the thing that we need to understand here. Two guys are not turning this team around. Calling up some different guys, trading for some guys is going to have to be the move. We'll see what ends up happening. Personally, if I was to predict anything, I think Tanner Scott is a Yankee through and through. I think they're 100% going to acquire him. I kind of feel like they're going to get Jazz Chisholm, and they're going to send Glaber over to Miami. And I think they are going to call up Vivas and maybe Agustin Ramirez for, an increased bat. But aside from that, I mean, I don't have a lot of confidence in this team right now, and I don't think you should either. It's not good baseball, and you can only say it's right in front of us for so long, to the point where you start sounding like you're the problem. I don't think Boone is the problem. I think he's one of the problems. There's a lot of problems with this team. And it's weird because this team didn't start out the season that badly. When they didn't have Garrett Cole, they were actually great. And then they had some injuries, and they've had a hard time coming back from it. Since Garrett Cole has come back, by the way, they've been atrocious. So this is one of the worst teams in baseball right now, if not the worst team as it stands. And things aren't going to get better unless they start making moves to kind of light a spark. Like I said, you can't just stay with Ben Rice. You have to bring in other guys. They're not doing that, and so this is what you're getting. Those are my thoughts, though. If you like them, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Even if you don't, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Hopefully, Gary will be back in the next episode, but if not, I will be here because the show must go on. I know people are, watching this, listening to this. Really appreciate you guys. This has been a blast. Just this show, doing this with Gary, but also just the growth. It's getting crazy. It's a shame the Yankees can't win right now, but at least you guys are, real fans, really sticking it out and watching every night, every morning, all of that. So we appreciate you guys. Be sure to follow me on all social media at JK Bogan. Follow Yankees Unloaded at Yankees Unloaded, and follow Gary Sheffield Jr. at Gary Sheffield Jr. Until next time, guys, you guys take care. Later, folks.